and gentlemen, it's been a busy day. Now we finally have got Ted Arnaud on the AT&T Sports Line, but we're doing this at Lou Gentile, my friend, CSI investigators, many years with the DEA here in this great state of Pennsylvania, 25 years a great member of the Pennsylvania State Police. So I'm borrowing his gym to talk a little sports with Ted Arnaud, who's joining us right now on the AT&T Sports Line. Teddy, let's begin with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know, you were exchanging emails with Greg Dallas and Bob Dvorak and the Bambino talking about walk the line, and it really did come down to a bunch of plays. And we're talking about the Ben Roethlisberger interception, talking about the fumble, unable to get the first down. Le'Veon Bell stopped at the 25. But today on his program on 93.7 The Fan, he was talking about how he doesn't have the ability to check a play, meaning change the play at the line of scrimmage. And a lot of folks were talking about the sneak, meaning the quarterback sneak, that he didn't do it, how they really felt that he should have done it, especially in those short yardage situations. And a lot of people are wondering about the future of Todd Haley as far as being the offensive coordinator. How much do you make of all of that? And when you look at the future of the offensive coordinator, what do you think his future will be? Good evening.
Good evening, Rob. Good to talk to you. Well, I think there are 4 plays that are definitive in what happened to the Steelers this year. And oddly enough, the first of those 4 plays happened against New England in the infamous 1-yard play where Ben threw it down the middle rather than either running it himself or using Le'Veon Bell. Now, it's interesting because to talk about Le'Veon Bell, he's not a power back. And so you got Ben at 6'5", 245, 250 pounds, is a big guy to tackle. And if you look at his history, I think he's made like 12 out of 13 quarterback sneaks from a yard in. And the reason why I say that play was important, because if the Steelers score on that play, they're no longer playing Jacksonville, they're playing Tennessee at home. So that's the first of the plays that I thought were critical. The other were very similar, 2 fourth down and 1 plays. One, a pitch to the right side against an extremely fast defense. The likelihood of that play succeeding was very low in my book, but somehow it got called, and I don't understand Ben's not being able to call a play at the line of scrimmage. It kind of reminds me of Cool Hand Luke. What we have here is a failure to communicate. The other play, very similar, where Ben throws a pass on 4th and 1 against a very fast defense. Instead of either using the line, using whatever he could to get that last yard. And of course, the last one, being a special teams guy, you call a onside kick with 2 minutes, 37 seconds left to go, with 2 timeouts and the 2-minute stoppage. And basically, you just told your defense you don't believe in anything that they're doing. And when you do the onside kick, you don't even execute it right. It was maybe the poorly executed onside kick I've ever seen. And you know I have a special affinity for special teams and the onside kick element of a game. Very risky, hard to pull off. But when they're expecting it and you got a kicker that can't kick it further than 5 yards, I think not only is the offensive coordinator at risk, but the special teams coach has to be called from the carpet also.
Now listen, you don't have any Keith Butler, you have no issues with him, and do you think a lot of it really was, I believe, they were never able to fill the void left by Ryan Shazier?
Well, I think that's part of it, but the defensive backs at the beginning of the year were playing much better, and for some reason the quality of their play diminished. And I think it could be that their opponents were starting to read them towards the end of the year. They didn't really have that big a difference in personnel the last couple of games anyway. Mm-hmm. But I think Keith Butler will probably survive this. In fact, I think probably all of them will survive it. It's pretty hard to argue against
the record. I mean, they had a great year.
The record. I mean, Pittsburgh, including me, including you, we get spoiled. And we get spoiled that the Steelers are so damn good every year. that when they're not perfect, we get upset. And I think, but that doesn't matter, because what is expected of the Steelers with their bevy of offensive weapons, and Ben Roethlisberger, who I think is constantly undersold as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, you basically, when he's on the field, have an offensive coordinator on the field. Why they would not use him in situations like that to be able to make the call is beyond me. And I think there's going to be a lot come out about that. I don't know what the facts are there, but how you could have Ben, who's got the feel of the game, all those years of experience, playing in 3 different Super Bowls. I mean, why you would just turn that over to him? And I know in the hurry-up offense, it seems like Ben calls all the plays.
All right,
there's
listen.
a real issue of communication here.
All right, listen, what we're going to do, that went a little longer than I thought, and it's rightfully so, because I think you needed to air your opinion, and I think a lot of people are asking the same questions, and we're going to be walking the line and talking more about the Steelers season. And yeah, you think of things like Le'Veon Bell, who doesn't want a franchise tag. They've got to find a way to satisfy him. You saw Antonio Brown, a couple of touchdowns, look fantastic. You know, when he's healthy, he's the best in the business, but I still think Martavis Bryant needs to get involved more. We also have to look at this defense as far as moving forward. What about Ryan Shazier without him moving forward? That is a real possibility. So lots of stuff that we'll be talking about on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show this week at 11. But we're going to take a little break here and come back in a couple of moments. We're at Lou Gentile's incredible gym here at his home. We're breaking a little bread earlier tonight, and Ted and I are going to break down this week's games, of course, all on Sunday, 3:05 and 6:40, both Westwood One Radio, 93.7 The Fan. The early game, it will be New England in action against those Jacksonville Jaguars, Blake Bortles versus Tom Brady, and then the late game, 6:40, it will be Philadelphia playing host to Minnesota. And Case Keenum, what a Cinderella-like story, especially if they get to this game and win, and then they go back home for Super Bowl 52. That's right, on their home turf in Minnesota. A lot of drama there, too. So please stay with us. Ted Arnott and I coming back. Jeff Bertoni helping me film this on the AT&T Samsung phone. Ted Arnott and I continue to talk a little NFL football for a Tuesday night right here with your Pratt Pack. Good evening.